One.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to NC 17. My name is Josh, and we are fortunate enough today to have not one but two guests. We got my friend George here, but the guest, the star of the show today is going to be Mr. Drew Fortier. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. This is my first interview in a very long time, actually.
Oh, okay. We got 40 minutes. That's all that Zoom will give us, but
I'll give you 80, whatever you guys want.
all right.
Oh,
Let's oh yeah. Let's first talk about our meeting, our when we met each other. So
yeah.
at Motor City Nightmares, I passed your table like twice, but this movie, like I told you, it kept drawing me in. And meeting you, and this is God's honest truth, one of the most genuine people I've ever met in my life.
Thank you so much, man. That's very sweet of you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You as well.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So let's get into what made you want to make the movie.
To be honest with you, I shot it in 2019, but the idea I had probably about 10 years prior to that. I was friends with the guy that wrote Chud, Shep Abbott, and I was like, "What do you think of doing like a documentary on Chud, or maybe even like a found footage like reboot for like $0?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna figure out who owns the rights because that's been a debacle for like a long time." And I was like, "All right." So I tried to figure it out, and it's all over the place. It's like I think Lakeshore Entertainment or something like that, or Red. It's all weird. And then turns out anyway, he only had the musical rights to Chud, which shows you what kind of deals they were making for movies in the 80s. And
Oh yeah.
and and then but I just kind of held on to the idea I had for it. And then a couple years later, I see all these found footage movies coming out with like $1 million budgets, $10 million budgets, and it's like that's not found footage. It's just a poorly shot narrative feature,
There
but
you go.
with special effects and all that. And it's like let's just do a full on zero budget, just actual, just pretty much edited in camera movie and see if it works. And then so yeah, I just called up some friends and I was like, hey, and they were all up for James L. Edwards and Doug Esper, who was I met through Chuck Mosley from Faith No More. I was his guitar player for a minute up until he passed away, and Doug was his manager and percussionist. And
Okay.
Doug is such a character. I just knew he'd be great in a movie or something. And then over like I think it was like 4 or 5 non-consecutive days in 2019 over the summer, we shot the movie. I think it was like one day in the tunnel, one really long day, and then like we actually James tells me it's like a day less than that because I lost the first day's worth of footage and on a faulty SD card. But yeah, and it was just kind of just wanted to make it just to see if we could do it, and I guess we did.
Oh yeah. So my new rating is it gets a 10.
Oh man.
So I've watched it literally 5 times.
Oh wow. Thank
Now,
you, man.
oh, you're welcome. And the funny thing is like after like the third time of watching it, I went and I watched Chud, then I watched then I watched Blair Witch Project, and then I watched Descent because all three of those are in this movie,
Right.
literally. And what I really liked about the movie was how each character dealt differently with it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and like your character, in my opinion, was going kind of Suspiria crazy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then the other guy that you guys kept arguing with each other.
Oh, James.
Yeah, he kind of reminded me of Scarface Anger.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
And then the third guy, he kind of reminded me of a mixture of the comedic side of horror, but he also kind of reminded me of you ever see that movie Night of the Demons?
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of Stooge.
Okay, yeah, totally. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that for sure.
but my opinion, the main attribute to this movie, just in my opinion, and I could be wrong, was what you didn't see.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
And that was due to budget, because it was just like, what can we do with some paper mache and a couple gloves? And
oh yeah,
it gets my mentality is, if you look at a effect that on for more than like 2 seconds, then your brain tells you right away, like starts picking apart like how it was made and why it's fake looking, you know. But if you
oh
do
yeah,
it quick enough, anything can, like, you see the thing's face for a second, and to be honest with you, I was at James's house doing ADR with him and Doug, and he has a Belial statue from Basket Case,
oh
and
yeah,
I had a camera, and I was like, let me try something. So I just quickly went zoom zoom, and that's in the movie.
oh yeah. I kind of picked that up, but I didn't want to,
Oh no,
say,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, what makes me give this movie a 10 now is after the third time I went back and I started watching it a fourth time to break down each character. And that's, the characterizations that I just told you. But then the fifth time was just pure entertainment again, you know.
That means so much that you liked it this much, man. Really, you have no idea. I really, really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, it's I will definitely I mean, I've had people reach out to me telling me they watched it on Tubi and stuff like that, and they said, "Hey, you're accurate about everything you said." I was like, I try to be.
Oh wow, thank you. Yeah, it's funny because this is one since it came out, it's gotten some love and some hate too, and it's funny because other reasons why people hated it were the reasons why I made it. So it's funny how stuff like this hits people differently. When
Oh
it's been fascinating.
yeah. So let's talk about your music career.
Oh sure. Yeah.
Where'd you start out at?
Oh, from the south side of Chicago. I was in a I was way younger. I was in a Led Zeppelin tribute band called Fools in the Rain, and
Oh,
that
okay.
was a lot of fun. And then one day I was bartending at this place called Mike's Love and Music, and this band Bang Tango were playing there, and I happened to have a. This kind of coincides with how I got started making movies too. And my boss Mike had me shooting video for like the to promote the club and all that, and Bang Tango were there, and the singer saw I had a camera. I don't know what I was doing. I had no background in filmmaking, and he was like, "Hey man, you can find some way." I was like, "No." And then he's like, "What's that? What's that in your hand?" I was like, "Oh, it's called a camera." And he's like, "Oh." And then he's like, "We're recording a album in Chicago in 2 weeks. You should come down and do a studio documentary." And I was like, "I don't know how to do that, but okay." And so I did, and it was the same studio in Chicago. It was called Johnny K's Groove Masters, and it's where like Kanye West records at,
Okay.
and all the Disturbed and everybody, and Bang Tango was there, and yeah, me and my friend Joe Plaskowski started shooting footage there and all that, and then at that point, that band was only the only original member was the singer Joe Stay, and then I started getting a hold of the original guys, and the story was just like ridiculous. I was like, whoa. And then from there, it kind of turned into a full on documentary on the band's career. And then, and I have no background in filmmaking, so I just didn't know how to log footage, and ended up taking 4 years to put together and make. Ended up with like 400 hours of footage.
Okay.
A friend of mine, a new gun, was shooting some of the interviews for me in L.A. And we got Dee Snider to do the opening narration, and Ricky Rackman's in it, and a bunch of people. And somehow learned how to edit through that 4 years just by trial and error. And then yeah, then I was like, oh wow, I guess it turned into a movie. And then here's a lesson to indie filmmakers about clearing music and all that, because you can't do a Bang Tango documentary without Bang Tango music. And they were signed to MCA back in the day. Universal bought them, and so when it came time to, because they had offers to buy the movie to distribute it and all that, and I had to clear the songs first. And so I was in contact with Universal for like 6 months straight, but every week it got passed on to somebody else because the person I was talking to either got promoted or fired. So I had to start over again like every week, and
Yeah.
it got ridiculous. And they didn't know where where to find the masters or anything like that. And so one day I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna put it out for free. And then it's on YouTube. And then I had one screening in Chicago at this place I was working at called Redmond's, and the band was there, and they had a Chicago show, and it's funny during the screening because it's a very brutally honest movie, and and the singer Joe, it was his first time seeing it, and and by the end of the movie, you kind of feel one way about him or another way, but while we're watching it and he's being interviewed and he's talking, Joe jumped up and he was like, "Hey, I didn't say that," as he's saying it on screen, and he was all like self-conscious and everything. It was adorable, and but then they had their he ended up loving it, and then they had the show in Chicago, and I knew all the songs already from hanging out with the original guys, and they showed me how to play everything. We were just messing around, and they asked me to uh, play the show with them because they were a two guitar player band, and they were down to one guitar player at that point, who was Rowan Robertson, who was Dio's guitar player,
Okay.
and Rowan and I hit it off incredibly. And so did the show with them. It was a blast, and that was it. Then they left town, and then I went back to my day job, and that was going to be like the end of the Bang Tango chapter in my life. I was like, all right, time to move on. And then 2 days later, like a Friday, Joe Estate, the singer, calls me up and he's like, "Hey, Drew, how do you feel about playing in front of 20,000 people tomorrow at the M3 Festival in Maryland?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm on my way." And then so I hopped in a car and drove 10 hours out to Maryland, and yeah, sure enough, it was like just 20,000 people. It was ridiculous. And then I played guitar with them for a couple of years, and it was a great time. That's actually how I met David Ellefson. We played Rocklahoma. We opened up the main stage in 2016, and it was us, 6 a.m., Megadeth, Disturbed, and Rob Zombie. And then I met Ellefson backstage, and it was like almost like Time Cop, because it's like, are you the older version of me? Because we were just hit it off so well,
Oh yeah.
and then that's the seeds of Dwellers right there too. And
Yeah.
then also played guitar for Chuck Mosley, Faith No More, up until he passed away. I put together this mad science project called Zen from Mars with the singer Kick Tracy, Chip Up from Enough's Enough, Mike Keller from Fear Factory and Raven, and Bryn Arns from Flip, and Kate Catalina. That's been a an interesting thing, building from the ground up, and that was back in 2015. It's 2022 now, and a version of that has been released, but not the version. And then I played guitar for Flip uh, for uh, for a moment, and then that was a fun time. And then what else did I do? Then I put together the Lucid with Vinny from Sponge, Ellison from Megadeth, Mike from Raven and Fear Factory, and that's been wonderful. Because playing with all these other bands and all that, it's for me, it was just hopping into their career at a later point. But with the Lucid, we were all there from the ground up to build something together,
Oh yeah.
and that's something I always wanted to do, and then we got that. So it's been really nice.
Oh yeah. I know. Since meeting you, my wife has played your music literally nonstop.
That's awesome.
Like
Oh,
she, I mean, don't I like the music, but at 5 in the morning, I don't like waking up hearing, she literally puts a speaker right next to me. Time to wake up. I'm like, I don't go to work until like 12.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Tell her so thank you so much.
Oh, I will. Yeah. She.
And I apologize.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. I mean, all joking aside, the music is phenomenal. So,
Oh, thank you, Janice.
you know.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh yeah, and I was the funny thing is at Motor City Nightmares when we met, I spent more time talking to you than I did anyone else
Oh, wow.
because it was like I felt, like, well, first off, like I said, the movie drew me in, and then I was like, once we started having that conversation, it was like, this is like an everyday dude that, you're so humble and genuine in presenting not just your product but yourself, and it's like it draws people in.
I really appreciate that, man. And yeah, I'm just a regular dude. I got a day job like anybody else, and I just definitely find time to do you know uh things like this, and spare time and all that. And I will definitely attribute a lot of The initial luster of Dwellers to the artist who designed the poster. His name was Alex Sarabia from Mexico, and he actually did the artwork for the Lucid album too. The little kid with the pinata,
Oh
and
yeah,
but yeah, that poster was fun to put together because that's all we took. I took real photos of all those in the movie, and then kind of positioned them, and then Alex drew them up like you see it, and even that every bit of that's
uh,
actually the movie.
my bad. Sorry.
Colors.
Yeah, it was. You know what drew me in, right? Is that right there?
Oh, the tunnel.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
nice.
what drew me in because I was like, okay, because when I first saw the picture, I was like, it looks interesting, and then I was like, is it going to be an anime? And then I was like, nah, I don't think it's going to be an anime. But I mean, either way, even if it was still going to be good, just because of the product that it was. Uh, but yeah, my wife who cannot stand horror, uh, she watched it and she said it was good. She liked it
That's
because
awesome.
it didn't give her. Well, I don't know. When you did the quick view of the creature's
Yeah,
face, that scared the hell out of her. But
nice. Oh, well, it worked. Thanks,
oh yeah,
Belial. Yeah, Bill. Yeah. Yeah. Wow,
oh yeah,
that warms my heart that the things worked and little subtle things like if you watch it with headphones on, you can hear the cats meowing very faintly and all
oh
that,
yeah.
and that was a lot of fun to do because I edited it also and I did the sound design and had somebody master it, Richard Easterling, who a wonderful guy, and but it was fun to. A lot of that movie is ADR too. Like whenever you don't see James on screen, that's ADR, and
Oh yeah.
I was same with Doug. But and it was funny. I originally there's a whole different third act the movie, and then I went back to the tunnel for like half a day and reshot some stuff. And it just another thing too. It's like something that may come off cool and work on paper as far as like a script, not always works like but in front of the camera, and that was the case for that. And so I was just like, nah, just make a whole different third act, and we shot it in like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah. So there's one more thing about the movie. Me and you've discussed it. Was the revolutionary, like the the main bad thing. I don't want to ruin it for people who
Oh
haven't
yeah,
seen
yeah.
it.
Oh
Yeah,
right, yeah.
but like how it just kept getting better and better at doing things.
You totally got it, and yeah, and that warms my heart as well because you got the movie 100%. You got exactly what it was intended to be and intended to do and all that. And that's wonderful. I can't thank you enough. And it's but yeah, you totally 100% hit the nail on the head with what that was.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's just as time goes on, it gets better at what it does, and that's how it lures people. You know.
oh yeah.
Mm.
Uh, there's, I know that we've spoken a couple times, and there's something I want to touch on that both you and I have experienced in our life. If you get what I'm saying,
Yeah. No. No. Yeah. Of course.
if you want to
Oh, the
go
cancer.
ahead, yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
that was crazy. It popped up out of nowhere. I was taking a shower, and then there's testicular cancer, and in my right testicle, and I felt something was off, and I was like, something's wrong here. So I went to the doctor, thought it was either like could be a hydrocele or hematoma. Had me get an ultrasound. They found the mass, and then yeah, within a couple of weeks, I had the surgery, and they got it out, and they got to the size of a tennis ball. It just started growing just so fast.
oh yeah,
And it was frightening, and but at the same time it's like I had a good life,
oh
and
yeah,
but and and yeah, and then they going running through my abdomen to get it out, so I got a scar and all that, and but my body, as far as everything else, nothing has changed at all, and because and it's just yeah, just check your bits. Always be aware of your body, and if something's off, get it addressed for sure, because from what I understand, a lot of people say they experience something like that and they're maybe a little too self-conscious to go to the doctor or something. They're just like, oh, I had to go away. And it's, yeah, this, you see something off, just definitely get it checked out. But yeah, definitely, it becomes an existential crisis for sure for a little bit once you're going through something like that because you don't know if it's spread. Unfortunately, in my case, it did not, and they got me on surveillance and everything. And I think my next appointments in a couple weeks, and just, they just scanned me from the neck down and see because the next place it would go would be the abdomen, and I
Yeah.
didn't know this, but I guess the testicles, like, I guess they're in separate rooms. And because I was just like, oh, I hope it doesn't jump to the other one. And the doctor's like, oh, that's nearly impossible. It would go through the abdomen before it gets to the other one. And if it's in the other one, it would be a whole new cancer. Um,
Oh yeah.
and it was such a learning experience, you know. And I definitely have a, you know, I love life to begin with, but then after that experience, I'm just like, it's like, duh, I love life, you know. And
Oh yeah.
and just so happy to be here more than ever. And yeah, this is my first interview since all that. To be honest with you, and it's good to talk about, you know, and because
Oh yeah.
it really it comes out of nowhere. You just never you can never anticipate something like that. You know, and it doesn't wait for an appropriate time to rear its head. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, it's so I had well, I have a tumor. It's no longer active on my lumbar,
Oh man, yeah,
and
that's
it's
right.
sarcoma. So that means it's a bone cancer.
Oh
Uh,
no.
Oh yeah. So cancer actually took maybe 75% of my family. Took my
Oh
mother, took one of my brothers, stuff like that. And after going through something like that, when you find other people who have survived it, correct me if I'm wrong, but you form a kinship with those people.
absolutely. Yeah, I realize that. I met quite a few people since then, and it's just instant hugs, you know. And it's yeah, definitely. I agree 100%. Totally.
Oh yeah. It's funny because in life, like you said, you love life, and when something's going on like that, you can't help but live the next day like it may be your last.
Totally.
But since then, that's how I've been living my life. It's
Yeah.
like I don't tomorrow's never given, it's never 100%. So taking instances like this where I can have the fortunate, time and experience to be able to interview you, I mean, these are times I look forward to because not only are we connecting on so many different levels, but it's also letting people know that, hey, you can just talk to people, you
Yeah.
know, you know.
Absolutely. 100%. And it's I remember it's just so weird when it was because when it was still in me, and it's like just the whole idea of just kind of looking down and be like, you know, my body's trying to kill me, you know, and it was such a freaky thing. And but just having to, you know, letting your brain do its job and to cope with it and just kind of, you know, just live day to day leading up to surgery or in other people's cases chemo or radiation, and then just getting through it. And yeah, just you definitely build up some perseverance through situations like that for sure. And then
Oh yeah,
and whenever any other kind of more trivial situation happens, it truly is like nothing compared to this, something like that.
exactly. uh yeah, so my wife actually asked me to ask you a question. She
Sure.
said, will the Lucid ever perform in Michigan, and if so, anytime soon?
Absolutely, 100%. And that's Vinny from Sponge. That's his stomping grounds. And so, yeah, one of the first shows will absolutely be in Michigan, probably the Token Lounge. And
Okay.
we're trying to work out the date for it. Probably going to be November or December, but it will absolutely happen though, and it'll be a good time. And we got an EP coming out around that time too. Um,
Okay.
and there's a special guest also, a guy from Michigan that guest on a couple tunes that I think people are gonna love and dislike very much at the same time.
uh I have no idea who that is, but that makes me think of at least five people. No, just playing.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you
Yeah.
what, I'll tell you afterwards.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, whenever you guys come, if you want to do a live interview,
Yeah,
I'm all for that.
oh, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be awesome, man. Yeah, everybody would, we'd all get enjoy that very much.
Oh yeah. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the public that is watching, or
Oh,
just anything?
just thanks so much for checking out um all this stuff. It's like everything I do or make is nobody ever asked for it, but I gave it to them anyway. So like with the Dwellers, and even I wrote a fiction novel with Ellefson called Rockstar Hitman. It was really fun and gory and weird. And I wrote a memoir as a joke called Dark, Depressing, and Hilarious. And if there's anything to check out, maybe is Her Name Was Krista, which is the first movie I acted in. It's the most romantic necrophilia love story ever told, and I'm the comedic relief. And that's on Amazon. And the Brimstone Incorporated, which is like a low budget creep show, and I play like Hell's lawyer in the wraparound story. And then there's another one, James L. Edwards movie coming out that I already shot my bids for. It's called Trivial, and I think it's coming out around like Halloween, I think, and it's gonna be it's like a twisted game show. It's gonna be pretty cool. And
Okay.
yeah, apart from that, yeah, just thank you for anybody who's uh, curious enough to check all this stuff out, and if you get a kick out of it, thank you. Even if you don't get a kick out of it, thank you. So it's you know, just happy to be here.
Okay. And that's why I say every show is like, I tell people call in, and even if it's just to say, Josh, you suck. I mean, hey, you know, it is what it is. I mean, but I will say this, that in meeting you, I feel I've gained a brother, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
same
Yeah.
here, 100%, man. You're wonderful, man. I truly, I'm so glad we met.
Well, I appreciate that. My thing is, I was always brought up respect, 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 you know?
Totally. Oh yeah, and everything else falls into place as long as you have those three things.
Oh yeah, and I would like the public to know that don't be afraid to approach people at conventions or on a street or something, because you never know. You might be gaining a true friend for life, or there was one person that was at the convention that was not pleasant at all.
Does the name start with a T?
Yes.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
I've on and off ran into him for the past like 10 years. The last time though was at I was a guest at Chiller, New Jersey, and I spent about 45 minutes with him, and he was having a good day, and just having a blast, just talking about a bunch of random things. And I was like, okay, cool. That's the last time I ever want to cross paths with him, at the risk of getting him on a more natural bad day for that particular person. And it bums me out whenever I hear stories about, because he shouldn't have to, because I know he doesn't like making eye contact with people and all that, and
Yeah,
so it just kind of brushes him off. And it's like, come on, man. It's like you're in the latter years of your life, just to enjoy what everybody has given you.
exactly. you know and that's why I say, meeting you, fortunate. I mean, I met a lot of great people there. I met a lot of great vendors and stuff, but I talk to them, but I conversate with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah,
uh,
we had some great conversations, man. And
uh,
there were some great guests there too, like Ken Foray. He's great.
oh yeah.
And V Neal, she's like you know, my mom. I love her very much.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, it's of course Hannah Fearman.
Oh yeah.
And mhm.
you know sh- I actually reached out to her, and she said that later on, sometime when she gets time, she'll be on the show too.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. And
Oh yeah.
and she directed and stars in one of the Lucid videos, Hair.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, she did, so you can check that out on YouTube. And she did an incredible. She won an award for it too. And
Oh,
she knocked it out the park. Yeah, she did
oh
wonderful.
yeah. Yeah, when we listen to the Lucid, we listen to it on Spotify.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's like car, home, I mean everywhere,
Oh,
even
that's
when we're
awesome.
at work.
That's so cool. Thank you, Josh.
Oh yeah, no
Yeah,
problem.
that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. We got 5 minutes left.
Hmm?
Do you have anything you'd like to plug? Social
Mm,
medias?
you just look up my name if you want to keep in touch. I'm easy, and I mainly do Facebook, and I do got a and Instagram and Twitter, but I think I got them all connected or something to where I don't know. It's just technology scares me, and
Oh yeah.
but not in like a conspiracy kind of way. It's just I'm yeah, I got a curmudgeon in me from growing up in the '90s. Like I remember when phones were still attached to walls. Now you
Oh yeah.
now the phone tells me the weather. It scares
Oh
me.
yeah.
And but yeah. So as for plugging anything, there's all kinds of random stuff I uh I got out there, and probably a lot of the stuff I did with James L. Edwards, I'd direct people to if they're into horror and all that. Her name is Krista. Seems to be the one that it resonates with a lot of people, and it's uh it's I've seen it once, and it sticks with you. Just the story and everything, and the way it unfolds, and it's a very unique piece. And the last half an hour is a gut punch for sure. And
Oh yeah.
so I recommend checking out. Her name is Krista to anybody who wants to have a experience, not just to look at something and soak it in, but to experience it as well. Like as you watch it, that's one of those movies for sure. Slow burn, but it burns nonetheless.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's I'm gonna check that out probably tonight.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Let me know what you think. I'm looking forward. And I'm sure I could get you James on the show. Like easy. Like he's a great guest. He's great to talk to.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, yeah, if you want to mention it to him, it's my one thing that I was kind of hoping to do was possibly at one point get all three of you from Dwellers on,
Yeah. Oh,
and
that'd be so much fun. That's a great idea. That'd be so much fun. Because so me, James, and Doug, the three of us are in Brimstone Incorporated together, and technically the three of us are in. Her name is Krista together. Doug has a song in the movie, and the three of us are again in Trivial together. So and
you guys are becoming the Three Musketeers of horror.
no, more like the Three Stooges, but
Hey, they're just as better.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm excited about Trivial. That one's gonna be really cool. I think that's gonna be James's like magnum opus because oh it's yeah, he's got a great mind, and I'm looking forward to what you think of Her Name is Krista. And
All right,
yeah, and it'd be really easy to get the three of us to do the show for you,
all right,
and that would be a lot of fun.
yes. All right. In closing, do you have any remarks you'd like to give to the fans watching and stuff?
Thank you so much, and you're all friends to me, and I appreciate everybody with all my heart, and yeah, I'm just kind of like in the midst of figuring out what to divert my attention to next, whether it's like a book, a movie, or music, or ballet. I don't know, whatever I decide to jump into,
Oh
or
yeah.
a musical, a play. I don't know, and
Yeah.
it
Put
just
it all
yeah,
together into one thing.
yeah, exactly. Creativity is creativity, and or it's exactly, and yeah, just seeing what catches my fancy next, I suppose. And but either way, I'm just thankful for everybody I've met this far. You guys and Josh, you're wonderful, and yeah,
Thank you.
and I really appreciate you wanting to talk to me on here. So thank you.
All right. Well, as I always tell all my guests, NC-17, you always have a home with us.
Thank you.
If you want to promote that you got a booger in your nose, you can do it. Oh yeah.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I mean it's yeah, so NC-17, you're always welcome here, and I'm sure we'll keep in contact because we've been in contact.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And in closing, I will say that if you hear noises in the sewer, don't go down there.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Don't. You hear something hurt from the sewer drain or something like that, just keep walking. It's for the best. It's
There
net
you
nature.
go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. I'd like to thank George for being here.
Thank you, George.
Hello, my friend.
I would
Yeah.
like to definitely thank Mr. Drew Fortier.
Awesome.
Check him out. His music's the Lucid. Very great music. Check out his movie Dwellers. Fantastic movie. And reach out to him on Facebook, and you will not be disappointed.
Thank
In
you.
that, I say thank you. You guys have a good one. Later.
Yeah, take care.